Welcome to Burning Metal Shooting the Breeze, episode 24. In this episode, I'm joined by Benny Lapton of Sligo Whiplash Festival. How are things, man?
All right, Ben. Philip, what's the crack? All good.
Not too bad now. It's getting closer and closer to the next
Yeah,
Sligo Whiplash, which has been amazingly in operation since 2005, which is a long time for a regional event, like in a metal event in Sligo, to survive. Like,
yeah. We ran initially. We ran it for 3 years, five, six, and seven, and then as everyone knows, the crash happened.
mm-hmm.
Um, and look, we just knew everybody was losing their jobs and whatnot, and we just said we'd have to pull it. Like, so we said we known a couple of years back. Decided we give it a go and see if we could get it back on the road again, and it worked out fine. And then COVID hit, so here we are again. You know yourself,
Effective.
keeping it going. You know, it's yeah, it's our little baby, as they would say. You know what? It's more for ourselves, probably. You know what I mean? And that might sound selfish. Just keep, you know,
I
keep it.
understand that completely, man. It's just,
You know,
if you can only do one or two gigs a year, it's great
yeah,
just to do it, isn't it?
yeah, it is. That's it. Like, you know. And listen, I use it as a platform. And I listen to a lot of Irish bands, and you know, and I know a lot of people. Oh, I with the tributes and tribute bands and all that. Listen, it's like this. If I don't bring in a tribute band,
Mm-hmm.
I'll have 50, 40 people, 50 people in the hall listen to some absolutely fantastic musicians. Whereas if I bring in a tribute band, I'd have 200 or 300 people in the hall listening to them. So works for us down our side. That's the way I go with it. You know.
That's the only way it can be done, man, because if you're trying to get the regular kind of metal
Yeah.
fan in that doesn't know the Irish scene, you have to have got some sort of a draw, be it an Iron Maiden tribute this time as you have in a Ghost tribute. You've got some chance of getting them in.
Yeah, like we've had some massive bands at the Whiplash tributes, and from that, like listen, people have come away. Like I'm going to mention a few. Gamma Bomb played, Crew Con played,
Jesus.
we had Mass Extinction, we had Cold War, uh, Celtic Legacy, all these fantastic Irish bands. Dyslexic. That's just a name but a few, like, do you know what I mean? And listen, people still ask me about them, you know, to this day. Well, whatever happened to those guys? You know what I mean? And we just looked at it and said it's a platform for these people to come down. You wouldn't usually get a gig in Sligo, even in the Northwest, like, do you know what I mean? And like I know they're fantastic, absolutely fantastic talent of all those bands I just mentioned. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a little platform for them to come down. Even I know it's only 200 or 300 people, but it's 200 people, you know. And look, listen, it works for us, as I said. That's the way we do it. You know, it's ideally you probably wouldn't work in Dublin under a tribute band, but you know, and I'm not dissing tribute bands by any means, because you know, I've done tribute bands for years, and some of my best friends are in tribute bands and all that stuff. It's just the way it works down here, unfortunately. I have to bring those guys in to set a platform for some of the bands I just mentioned for people to come and see them. That's the way it is, you know?
Exactly. And you just touched on the COVID thing there. Unfortunately, I've got round three now, and I was just telling you, some people, I'll probably find this funny in a few days, but somebody might watch it might amuse them that my peak day of full fucking fever was yesterday, the hottest day of the year. That was not fucking fun, man. I swear to God, it felt like I was gonna die. But but you look at him here today. Now we're chatting away and we're helping get the word out about Sligo. I'll be all right. I'll survive. But
The
you've got to
killer.
go
Sorry,
on.
Phil. Sorry, sorry.
I was going to say you've got a really good lineup for this anyway. So you have.
Yeah, I listen. You know, like there was other bands we were looking at. We tried a couple of other bands as well. And listen, we tried to count. Like if you look at, there's a couple of trash bands. There's a couple of sludge bands. There's a couple of there's something there for everybody. Do you know what I mean? There's something there for everybody, and it's a strong lineup. Do you know what I mean? We've approached a couple other bands. Honestly, we did, but you know, some of them were gigging elsewhere and committed to tours and blah blah blah. So we just couldn't get those guys. But still, it's not it's a very strong lineup. Do you know what I mean? Very strong lineup, and we're delighted with it. We're absolutely delighted with it. Some of the bands we got, like For instance, I'm just going to name Black Swan. Those guys haven't played for a wee while, but they had a massive following in Sligo, believe it or not, because they've been over a couple. I brought them over a few times.
Yeah.
They had played over there a few times, and every time they come over, like they'd play to 100, 150 people. It sounds nothing, but in the little room in McGargles, they'd fucking well the place. Like, you know what I mean? We had, some great nights with those guys, and that's just one of the bands, to mention. Like, so hopefully by bringing the rest of them over, they get a bit of a following, and people pick up a bit of merch off them and a few CDs or whatever else. You know yourself. That's the way it works with them.
Jesus, man, if you're running a gig in the west of Ireland and you get 150 people out, you're doing well. Like, you really are. Because it's often another lad. We used to run gigs in Galway, and we put on one in the loft, one like the cellar or whatever it's called now. It's a few different names. We only got 50 people in through the door, like, and it was heavily promoted, like. So it's just
Like,
if you're anything over 50 is an accomplishment in itself, like.
If you're doing this to make money, you'll be broke in 2 weeks. I mean, like, you're not going to make money. It's not about making money. It's the love of it all. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, myself an owner. And no, in fairness, there's other guys I lean on as well, Philip. There's guys like if I have any questions regarding backline, just little things. I'd lean on, a couple of lads like Kelly and Harpy, and there's a few other lads that I'd lean on. These guys know their shit, like, so I can ask them straight up, what's the story here, and these guys are good, you know what I mean? They know, you tell them straight up. They tell you straight, look, that's not going to work. This is bullshit, and you need people like that around you, you know what I mean?
Especially when it comes to gear.
Oh, yeah.
Can't skimp on it.
No. Listen, the thing is, what I said from day one with Whiplash, and this is a fact. The first thing I said to Owen and the rest of the guys when we did the first one was, we need to look after the bands, because the first year there was the first 2005, the lineup, let's be straight, isn't the best, right? And I don't mean that, no disrespect to anybody. We tried to get a couple of different bands, and it just wasn't happening. In Sligo, you know what I mean? What's going on up there? Nada, the fuck. But 2000, I think it was like 2005, the first one, we had like 20 bands applied to play. The following year, there was like 90 looked to play. So I said to the lads, the first year, we got to look after the bands, get the fucking word out there. We're going to look after people. They got beer, they got water, they got towels. They were looked after like they were Metallica. And that's the way it is. When you come to Sligo to do a gig for us, we're going to look after you. Do you know what I mean? And you leave there, you leave Sligo going, yeah, right, listen, these guys know what they're doing. We have a sound engineer down here, Ray McAndrews. I have to say, Ray's a fucking gent. He's a genius. He knows exactly what he's at. Do you know what I mean? He's a cool guy. He never gets excited. And listen, it is what it is. And we just try to do things right. Not on the cheap. We don't try to script or scrape. If band needs something and we can get it within reason, we do it. And that's the way it is with us down here.
Well, you've mentioned some bands like Cruachan in there, like you wouldn't get them unless you've done it right, man. They're professional acts. Like.
I'll tell you what happened with Cruachan, actually. I think it was 2006 or 2007. Waylander was actually meant to play, and out of Waylander there was Cruachan. A couple of members were in that. So Waylander couldn't do it for whatever reason, and they stepped in, and we were cool with it. Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, look, listen, that's cool. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we've had some really good bands. Celtic Legacy is another one. Fantastic band, fantastic lads. I have to say, like, some of the bands that played, you're just looking at them going, fucking hell, wow. Like I'll tell you, my personal favorite out of all the bands that ever played Whiplash, and this I watched every one of them, was Mass Extinction. I think the headline in 2006, one of the nights, I did a trash band from Dublin. Phenomenal. Absolutely. From the fucking minute they started, both, they had the place in like the palm of their hands, and the room was electric, like. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think there's anybody that was there would disagree with that statement. They were absolutely phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? And of all the Whiplashes I've done, that's probably I think it was the 2006 or 2? I can't remember, 6 or 7. But they did one of the nights, the Saturday night, and they were absolutely fucking hell unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? And Gamma Bomb, in fairness, they were another one. You know, they played, and they're only kids just before they signed. I think they played 2006 as well. And you could see where those guys were going. They were fucking different cheese, like, do you know what I mean? Fairness, fantastic band, you know. And some most of the other ones just didn't get the break, you know what I mean? They just, you know, it's all about luck, being in the right place, the right time, and that kind of stuff, like, you know.
A lot more opportunities for bands in Ireland now with the Bloodstock Metal to the Masses and the Whack and Bet final and all the rest. So if you get playing Bloodstock, you've got a great platform.
I just seen Dead Label. They did Donington, and they were somewhere else. I was watching them there.
They're playing Whack next.
I was watching them somewhere last night doing somewhere. It was a Resurrection Fest or one that I can't remember, but they're a phenomenal band as well. You know what I mean? Then there's a great scene in Ireland now again. Thank God, there's some fucking great bands. You know, Orcus and there's lots there. You know,
it's funny that you bring up Orcus and Dead Label, because I managed to get a gig on in Roscommon once, but unfortunately the pub venue whatever closed soon after. But I had actually Orcus and Dead Label on that lineup, so it's pretty mad looking back that the one time an event happened in Roscommon, Dead Label played fucking Whack and Donington and Bloodstock and all the rest. Who'd have thought that? Like,
like we managed to get the onslaught over the Sligo like in 2007, and they get, you know what I mean, phenomenal feat for 3 or 4 guys, like, to bring them over, you know, get them over here. Fucking again, it was a fantastic night, like, you know.
Well, I didn't realize you got onslaught over. That's a big one.
We hit them over in, I think that was 2000. That was the last year, 2007. They were over again. Brilliant.
Fantastic. Oh, they're a great band. They're a fucking brilliant band.
And you know what? I hung out with everybody afterwards. It was a great night. Drinking beer we had to put them on the bus like 6:30 in the morning. Miss the fucking ferry, man. You know what I mean? Like, come on, you better go. Yeah, we paid for a hotel room that didn't even fucking use, you know.
Oh, jeez. Fucking, I suppose there's a bit of crack anyway.
It's all rock and roll, isn't it?
Exactly. But just to clarify, what time do the doors open on your event? On the 30th. You're on the 31st and the 1st of the 30th and 31st of July. And what you got the Saturday and Sunday? What day? What time is the door? It doesn't make it clear.
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
Oh, you're 9 o'clock at night. The doors are, yeah.
Probably the first band. I'm not sure. We haven't got the stage times done exactly, but I'd say the first band would be like 9:15.
Yeah.
Probably 9:30, and obviously there'll be metal playing all through. One man, you know yourself. We're actually upstairs in Anderson's rather than downstairs. Good area, smoking area, the whole lot. You know what I mean? Good spot. Better for the logistics of the whole lot, moving gear and all that kind of crack. You know.
I've never been there. Is it kind of like a nightclub, or is it a venue, or what?
It is. They've shifted around a few times, Philip. They've shifted it used to be. It used to be downstairs. Then they put it upstairs. Then they moved us back downstairs. Now they're moving us upstairs. It's like, you know yourself, snakes and ladders. But hey, listen, it is what it is. They're very good to us at the same time. You know, Brian down there. He lets us use the venue, and he gives us the sound engineer and that for the weekend, and we just look after everything else. You know what I mean? The bouncers and all that stuff. So it's grand. Works perfectly. That's
important for people to know that it's a properly ran event, like, you know, and there'll be security and all the rest, and maybe just if anyone is concerned, like if they've heard of like. You have to assume that the people out there that have never heard of Sligo Whiplash before, and they're thinking, is this going to be a fucking gazebo at the back of a pub or somewhere, like, or a marquee or something? But no, it's a proper venue.
Yeah, I put up a couple of videos from. So this is what happens for them. This is what happens. So Anderson's asked myself and Owen to run a couple of gigs here, so they give us like 4 or 5 nights a year. So we put on a couple of tribute bands and try and get a couple of Irish bands down to play with them. And it's all leading up. We'd make, you know what I mean, if we can make it, turn a few quid on t-shirts or whatever, we'd all put it back into the fund for Whiplash. And we put it towards that. So we'd have but all year it'd be like, we'd use the lads Whiplash, they'd come down and play, or Gene Ord band, sometimes a Pantera band, whatever. And it's all building towards it. We'd make a few quid, maybe 100 or two or three, whatever. We put in the pot, and come Whiplash is used for making posters and advertising, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? We need like, and because every band that comes plays Whiplash gets paid, obviously. We wouldn't expect them to come down and just, like you couldn't expect, especially the price of diesel and accommodation. You come down and play their festival, and there you go. Good luck. You know, most bands that get a few quid and they're kind of looked after, like as best we can. We're not going to be paying the fortunes, but they're not going to be out of pocket. You know, give them a
And the
few
way it
quid.
is, if you're an Irish band, even if you got 50 quid to cover the getting up and down, you've done well. Because most
Yeah, well,
places don't
they'll be
even get
getting a lot more than 50 quid, let me tell you. You know what I mean? We wouldn't expect, honest to God, Philip, we wouldn't expect anybody travel from Dublin, Belfast, go wherever it may be. Do you know what I mean? At least giving them a couple of quid in their pocket, like, and they can have a fucking drink afterwards as well, You couldn't. You really couldn't,
Well, that's very good because that's, to be honest with you, man, a lot of promoters wouldn't do that. Like, they just say, come down, play your set, give them nuts, and then off you go on your merry way again. Like,
I've seen loads of bands. I come down and I give them a few quid and be like, "Oh, you sure?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, of course." I wouldn't expect you to for nothing. You know what I mean? Traveling from wherever. Like petrol and diesel is not cheap now. Accommodation is fucking crazy. You know what I mean? You couldn't expect people to travel over and not look after them at least with a few quid.
when you're only doing it once a year, it's not a big thing anyway. If it does cost you a few bob, like, what about it? Like, what you can. It's a more of a project of love. It's not about a business or anything like that. The t-shirts and hats and stuff you sell is just to make a few bob, just to keep it active. Like,
That's all. That's all it is. We've little pins and you know what I mean. We've these little pin badges and fucking wee patches that we had, and everything's gone. Like in fairness, we've a good crew over here, like that go to pretty much everything that we'd put on. You know what I mean? We'd put on, and there's probably the same core 150 people, and then some come in and just add to it. And I honest to God, if you're doing it probably plus 20 years now, the Sligo Metalheads gigs, we've never had really any hassle with anybody. Everybody comes down, has a great night, and off they go. You know what I mean? It's a good weekend. There's people travel. We've made friends from Drogheda, for example, RD, Galway, Limerick, Cork, all these bands and all these people you've become friends with all through this, like, and that's what it's all about, really.
hmm.
You know.
Did you ever try reaching out to the Sligo, some sort of project in Sligo about what's in Sligo, historic stuff or anything like that you could tie into the event, or do you try and keep it on your own? Or
Well,
like if people are coming down for the weekend and the doors aren't until 9, do you like anything to do to tell them what to do during the day or anything? You haven't looked down that route of things, no?
at the minute, Philip, we always tried to have a gig on a Sunday afternoon. Um, excuse me, on Sunday afternoon, like for people that'll be coming traveling down, so that to have somewhere to hang out.
Mhm.
But this year we decided we won't, because there's a real lack of venues since COVID hit. There's an awful lot of pubs gone in town. Like one of the main pubs that we used to use is gone. It's a restaurant now. Another bar is focused more on food than it is, live music. And you can understand that. That's where the money is now. But as we try to get funding off different agencies, if you want, and different things, and kind of knock back a few times. Like what we do is on a minimum budget, but we always manage. And again, back to Anderson's always help out. I have to say, if we fall a bit short or whatever, you just give the lads, and Brian in particular, or Tommy, or whoever, the two Sarahs, just give them this, we're short here. No problem. Bump. They give it a few quid, and they're happy. Do you know what I mean? Because they
That's very
always do
good.
really well in the bar. Like they're great people, and when we're there, they can't do enough for us. Like, honest to God, do you know what I mean? I think it's down. There's a bit of a mutual respect between all the lads that go in and out, and Yeah, it works well.
That's very, very important, especially
Mm.
when you're based in Sligo. You need the venue to be behind you as well, because
You do.
if you get a bad night, the venue could just say, right, fuck off, like, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
But
it.
thankfully, Philip, they've had that like in all the years. You see, I try to not to what's the word? I try not to fucking put too many gigs on. Do you know what I mean? Over the course of the year, because if you flood it, it ruins it. Do you know what I mean? Two or three a year, and that's that, or not 3 or 4 a year, and that's enough. It's loads. All the guys come out to support it. Everybody has a good night, and you know what I mean. The Andersons they're delighted with it because they do really well. I think they do really well because they're always happy. They're always asking us back. So, you know what I mean? So I mean, we must be doing something right.
Well, if you're
And
getting 150 people into a venue, man, you're doing something very fucking right, because that's
yeah,
not easy done. Like,
yeah, oh, it's not like
not easy done with any genre of music, but it's particularly
yeah,
fucking metal. Like,
hmm,
you know, that's a very niche genre, and
yeah.
you know, a lot of the crowd are getting older, and it's kind of,
That's it.
you know, there's always factors that'll come into it. So
Yeah,
you were we won't go into what you've sold because that's private, but we were having you told me before we started, and
hmm,
like that's pretty good what you've moved so far. But hopefully now
yeah,
with a bit more promo, you can get a few more across the line, you know, and just make sure
yeah.
it's a good night for everyone.
Yeah, we've had good. We decided we go pre-sale with the t-shirts, and the t-shirts have gone really, really well.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? No, like, listen, be honest with you, there wouldn't be a great markup on the t-shirts. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's to have those to do them like really and truly. We're not making money on t-shirts. Do you know what I mean? It's not about making money back. You know what I mean? It's just about you go to the event, you have your t-shirt, there you go. Do you know what I mean? But look, listen, again, back to it for the love of it. You know, if I look at it like this, if I don't do it, our own doesn't do it. We don't do it, nobody's going to do it. You know, and it's as simple as that. Like,
The
you know,
only other promoter I can think of in the last 10 years in Sligo was a woman called Ellen Reed, I believe her name was.
yeah,
She used
hell
to do
yeah,
gigs out and somewhere. She was
yeah,
she was very regular too, and then things she just stopped for
yeah.
whatever reason.
She and she's more into the punk stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I know her to see. I know her to see. I've often had a quick chat with her, like hello. I know her. She, it's an English lady. I know her to see, but I never had a proper chat with her. There's an yeah. There's another guy down here, Alex Fitzgerald. Now he's not a promoter. He is a record label actually, and he's a little record shop. It's punk stuff.
Oh,
He yeah. Check
I've
out
heard of him.
Alex.
All right.
Alex is a cool guy as well. No, Alex has been on to me as well about doing something, and I'd love to do something with Alex. He's been on to me 2 or 3 years about doing something to get something going. Maybe two metal bands, two punk bands on, because I'd love to do it, like, you know. And we have the thing, we have the venue to do it, and you know, that'd be another good night, like, you know, something different. You know?
Be a tougher one to kind of sell, though, wouldn't it? I think in Sligo, like the punk thing would be.
There's,
You know.
believe it or not, there's a bit of an underbelly of punk stuff down here. It's punk and ska.
Was there?
Um,
Yeah.
it is, yeah.
Right.
Believe it or not, yeah, there is. It's what's the word again? Like, you wouldn't. It's not very visual, if you know what I mean. But you know, I know there's a lot of them go to gigs in Dublin, and I know a few of those guys. To be okay, and be talking to me about different stuff, and uh, they'd be talking to me about different stuff, and what was I going to do this and was I going to that, you know. And I'd be like, no, I would like I'd be honest, I wouldn't really be up to date on all the punk stuff now. But I would if Alex was on to me, because I know he knows the shit. We do something together, you know what I mean? And it'll work, because I know he put on a few gigs before and he did really well out of them as well. Couple of maybe 100, 150, like we said. So we got them together. A good night. Alex actually looks after that band Baylor.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, Jesus,
Yeah,
that's pretty fucking big.
yeah,
They're doing really well for themselves.
yeah, yeah. It was. I think it's out on his label. Yeah, yeah. Good band. We're
What's the
going to try.
label called? It's
I
slipping my
couldn't
mind.
tell you, but I can't off the top of my head think of his label.
It's bugging me now. I know the label. Is it
Yeah,
Destroy label? Is it Destroy? No, it's not. No, no.
Distorted. Is it Distorted? I
Jeez, I
thought it was
don't know.
something. Alex. He said, yeah, right there. Destroy.
Yeah,
That's it, yeah.
that's it. I knew the name, I just wouldn't come to me there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's mad. I heard. I didn't know he was based in Sligo, but there you go. I
Yeah.
suppose you can run in label from anywhere if you do it right.
Yeah. He's a cool guy. Cool guy. You know. And again, I don't think Alex is making major money off the music business. Do you know what I mean? It's all for his love. It's yourself. You know. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And we want to just bring attention to some of the bands. We're going to. You've got the Metal Fest in Sligo and Whiplash.
Yeah.
We're going to touch on Friday first. You've got a band called Tusk who are opening up proceedings. What would they sound like in your opinion?
Tusker band, all local lads from Sligo, except the drummer. He's American. Tusker is like a lad called Jamie Callahan. I'd say Tusker classic rock metal band, real powerhouse singing and that kind of stuff, you know. Yeah, that'd probably with a wee tint of Celtic stuff fired in on top of it.
All right, that's good. You have a local band too, especially with helping with the draw. Like that's good. That gets the word out by itself. Like anyone that knows anyone will instantly know about the festival and when it's happening. And of course, we've touched on you've Black Swan are playing. That's the Black Swan, man. That must be their first gig in 7 or 8 years, I'd say. I think
it is.
Has to be like I haven't heard of them since 2014-15. I think.
Yeah, the lads. I think they gave it a really good push. Really good push. I'd be actually good friends with a lot of the lads in the band. Ken would be a good friend of mine. Bass player Keith would be a good friend of the singer. Be a good pal of mine. They gave it a really good push. They were offered tours and blah blah. You know, you've got to buy onto the tours and all that kind of stuff now. I just don't think they just. If they were an English band, I think they would have done it. It's just back to it, being located where they were.
Yeah.
And they brought out an album, fantastic album.
Oh, brilliant album.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, back to it, they were offered tours, but you buy on these tours, and there was no guaranteed, that was going to happen for them.
Then you've got to fucking cross the Irish Sea then on a van. Like, how much is that going to cost you? Like, a few thousand. Like, that's before you even play a gig. Like,
I seen some of the. One of the lads showed me a couple of the emails what was costing to jump on a tour with a big band, and I'm not good at the figures or anything. You know what I mean? I respect those guys, but it was a lot of money, and there was no guarantees. You know what I mean? So I think with a couple of them getting married and whatever else they were at, it's probably just decided we leave it at that. And as I said, a few of them are my friends. So I just said them last year when they were down. They were over just after COVID and the lockdown stopped. They were over, and I asked them, "Would you be interested?" Because as I said, they had a core fan kind of crew over here like them. I said, "Would you be interested in coming over?" Oh, let us think about it. And the next thing they were back. I just sowed the seed, and I knew straight off to be fucking mad to do it. So within the week or 2 weeks, it was just all back to do it. You know what I mean? So delighted.
Oh, that's great.
Delighted.
Next up, we have a trash band from Dublin, Crossfire.
Crossfire. Yes. Yeah, I'd be more into the trash kind of stuff. I'd be honest with you. These lads, these are younger lads. I've never seen them live, believe it or not.
Oh, they're very good live.
Yeah, I've never seen them live. I won't tell you a lie. And now I went to go to the Dentrix gig a couple of times.
Oh, the fucking Dentrix gig! Oh my god!
Sorry, Dentrix gig a few weeks ago.
Oh, that was a disaster, man.
Stop. And I'm looking forward to seeing them and themselves and Animated.
Yeah.
And you know what happened there. But I did be chatting to Connor Jordan. I met him actually last week at Napalm Death, chatting him. He's bubbly to say the least.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, he's a nice kid, yeah. And I know that I listened to a couple of all the stuff they've done. Really good. I'm looking forward to them. I know they're full of energy. They'll go down the street down there.
You're going to get some good old school fucking speedy heavy trash, so it's going to be good. If you haven't seen them, you're going to enjoy them.
Yeah.
And then your headliner on the Friday night is Host, who are a ghost tribute act.
Yes. Again, I've never seen these lads. These were recommended to me by Killian, one of the Sligo lads, and Killian, this boy knows this shit.
Yeah.
And he says to me, "Listen, I'm telling you." So again, he's seen them two or three times, I think, in Fibbers and a few places. So I just had to go, like, traditionally wouldn't be my kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Now the wife loves them, and I know loads of the lads love them. I said, yeah, look, listen, I go and we've gone in contact with them. Nice fellas, no problem, all sorted. So they're doing the Saturday evening. They're kicking it all off. It's all like they seem to be really professional. They've been on to the sound guy and the production manager about all the props and all the bits and bobs they're doing. So great, that's all sorted. But at the same time, I'm really looking forward to seeing them. You know what I mean? I'm really looking forward to seeing something different again, different for Sligo. You know.
Have you ever seen Ghost yourself?
I have. I seen them at Metallica in
Oh yeah.
in Slane. Yeah. Again, look, listen, I enjoyed it, but this too theatrical for me. Do you know what I mean? I just like it broke down right old school. You know, it's all about the crunch for me.
Yeah, I seen them headline Bloodstock a few years ago. I didn't really know what the big deal with Ghost was, and I watched them and I was just like, this band is fine. Everything about them is fine.
Yeah.
They're good at what they're doing. They're professional. They put on a great show, but I'm not for me. But they're going to be a draw, I would say, because Ghost is a well-known name now in metal. They're one of the biggest names in metal now, whether you like it or not. Like,
yeah, you see, the thing is with bands, like I see people getting into fucking absolute mayhem over bands. I like it, I don't like it. If I listen to it, I listen to it, and I just couldn't be arsed getting into these big arguments over bands. I go and see, like, we go to bands all the time, with Hellfest or wherever we be. I like it. No, that's not for me. Back out of the altar, or the temple, or the valley, wherever. Go somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? It's simple as that. Like, I'm not getting into all the big debates with anybody. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't.
Exactly. Life's too fucking short, isn't it, for little trivial things like that? You're at a music festival or a gig, like, you know, it's just no, we won't squalor over that. Anyways, then we'll move on to the Sunday, and on the Sunday you've got a fucking really, really good opener on Sunday is our Junior's Eye, like.
Yeah, listen, I know Sean from Cove, legend of a man, an absolute gentleman. All those guys are sound fellas, gents. Those guys are from the Pantera. Well, Sean is from the Pantera tribute band, and he's a really cool guy. And I love the stuff as well. It's really,
the album is amazing.
Oh yeah, fantastic! Like they've been working on that for a long, long time. Do you know what I mean? Those guys know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Fantastic musicians, absolutely fantastic musicians. Every one of them. You know.
And I'd urge anyone, if you are going to Sligo Metal Fest, to make sure you get in for them anyway, because they could potentially be your band of the weekend, whoever it is, because they are really fucking good. Like.
Yeah. I was on to a friend of mine actually. He'd be into kind of Tool and that kind of stuff. I said, give these guys a listen. He got back to me the next day. This stuff is fucking amazing. I said, I told you, like, do you know what I mean? And again, like, he was kind of surprised. I think Sean was kind of surprised that I got in contact with him. I said, no, this it's really good stuff. Like, it's not for everybody, but that stuff is really fucking good, I think.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
And next up, we have Animator, who have only played, this will be their second or third gig in God knows how many years as well, too. Like,
yeah. Animator was a funny one. We kept on getting the fucking. And listen, lads, if the boys Darren is watching, I have to apologize because we kept on mixing the fucking day up. A Saturday, Sunday. He was like, no, we promised it would be a Sunday. All right, and then I put them on the post for a Saturday. It was awful fucking mix. And I said, this is on me. Let me just sort this out. And I said, so yeah, listen, I'd seen the Animator. I can't remember who I seen them with a couple of years back, and fantastic band. And I said to one of the lads who was with me at the gig, I said, these guys are going down Whiplash. Fantastic band, loads of energy. Can't wait to see them again in Sligo. You know.
They played Bloodstock and a few others of things as well during the years as well. So then it's nice to see them coming back because it looked like they were kind of fizzled out, but no, they're back, which is great.
Yeah. Very good band.
Excellent band.
Yeah.
And then you've got another fucking heavyweight for the Irish scene. You have Two Tales of Woe, that's the first gig of Two Tales of Woe in a lot of years as well too, like for a variety of reasons.
Well, again, back to it. Carl, I know Carl since the very first Whiplash, 2005. He was in a band called Chosen, and they did a Sunday afternoon show for me in Sligo at the first Whiplash,
Yeah.
and he came down, seven himself, hit it off straight away. Super guy. He got lots of friends down here in Sligo. We'd meet him in Dublin. We'd be in gigs. All the lads would meet him. Super fella, and the stuff was heavy as fuck. I mean, like it's some great stuff, like, you know. He's chopped and changed a wee bit with the stuff, but Lar Bowler was in the band originally with him as well. They wrote some super music together, and again, they're another band like Black Swan. It could, if they were across the pond, they would have working for them. I truly believe that. They wrote some super music. And listen, Carl's still at it, and you know what I mean, one of those guys. They just write great music, full stop. He knows what he wants, and if it's not right, he's just going to say, "Listen, it's not right. I want this." You know what I mean? He knows what he's at, that guy. You know.
It's great to see him back playing music because he had a
Yeah.
hit and miss there a couple of years ago. We won't go deep into that now, but Jesus, man, that was close, like, wasn't it?
He's very sick. Yeah, that's great to see him.
That was close. Like he had to be fucking.
Yeah, very
fucking hell, dude. Like,
it's great to see him back. Yeah.
Yeah. And no doubt now they'll probably move
on. Love for that guy down here in Sligo.
Sorry?
A lot of love for that guy in Sligo.
Carl's a big fucking teddy bear. Like, if you looked at him, he looks really intimidating, but then you get to talk to him and he's just the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Like,
we met him, myself and the wife met him. We were going out to we went on our honeymoon. He was I think he was a customs officer in Dublin Airport.
Yeah.
It's funny. We met him in the airport. We're like, what the fuck? He was you any grass on you? Like, fuck, you're working there. He's like, yeah. But he's a nice guy. Good time for Carl.
And then, last but not least, you've got an Iron Maiden tribute act then to close off the proceedings on a Sunday, which is a very good choice as well as a headliner, because Iron Maiden have a following, and that'll be encouraged the casual people to come in and check it out. Like,
this is it, right? Look, listen, I'm a huge Maiden fan.
I'm not the T-shirt on you right now, man.
There you go, like. But no, I'm a huge Maiden fan, and again, I try to get the lads Iron Maiden. I tried to get them a few years back, but the COVID and it was getting knocked back, and I just said to them, look, listen, we get sorted, and thankfully they had to rearrange, because I don't think it's on the weekend in Northern Ireland. The end of the month. Their one is further on, I think, or the week after or something. But they rearranged their schedule, the work schedule, so they're coming down to Sunday, and everything is. I'm really looking forward to seeing them, to set me on to set which one I wanted, which one I preferred. There was 3 different set lists from 3 different tours. So I said my wife's a huge Maiden fan as well. I said, we go with this one, and Killian's as well. I said, which one are we going with? He goes, go with that one. So we decided we were going to go with this one and let it rip, you know.
Oh no, man! You've got a really good varied lineup, and and the 9 o'clock door is a good time too, as well too. That means people can get in, and it's not a long night. So if people haven't got an awful lot of money, they can budget it, you know.
Yeah, but this is what we're trying to say. If people bought the tickets now for the weekend pass, they're got. You don't have to worry about them. You just go in and give your name. I know, like, it's only a $5 off, but it's got. You go in. If you were having 3 pints that night, 3 pints that both nights ago, that's my. You know what I mean? That's me done. I don't have to worry about paying for tickets. I know it sounds kind of cheapish, but at the same time, you wouldn't get a band in Dublin for 25 quid. Do you know what I mean? You're getting 2 nights in Sligo for it, and 8 great bands.
Yeah,
that's what we say. You know.
Yeah, so you've got 2 nights, the 30th and the 31st of July in Sligo, and then you've got like €15 a night, or 25 for the 2 nights.
Yeah, that's it. Now you can buy, if you wanted to buy, like, on the Saturday night, you say, I'm going on 2 nights. You can buy the weekend pass on the Saturday night coming through the door. No problem.
Oh, that's
Uh,
good. That's good to tell people that as well. That if they were
yeah,
kind of sitting, maybe
yeah,
because I know it's only might be two people a tenner, like, but a tenner can be a lot of money to some people nowadays.
oh,
At
of
the
course,
moment,
yeah,
the way things are
yeah,
gone, like you have to be realistic about it all. Like,
yeah. Oh, that's it. Like, and again, back to it. You like, there's a lot of people traveling. The page has been getting, a lot of messages about travel, like accommodation, and it's very, very expensive. It's not just in Sligo; it's everywhere. It's
yeah,
absolutely everywhere. But we've kind of sorted it, not sorted, but we've sourced a place for group accommodation. Let's just say.
yeah.
I mean, so if there's groups of 5 or 6, hit us up on the page, and we might be able to get you sorted there. Like I
Mm.
know there's a place for like I think it's 550 for 6 people for 2 nights. It sounds like a lot of money when you break it between six.
That's
It's
not
not
that
that.
much.
You know what I mean? There are apartments in town, student accommodation. So I know we've got a couple of people sorted in groups of 6. So there's a lot of people traveling.
Mm.
You know.
Well,
So
550 for 6 people for 2 nights that's really good. Like, you wouldn't get that in fucking Roscommon. Never mind in Sligo. Like, and there's fuck all here. Like,
yeah,
definitely no metal festival.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
well. Look at sure. We'll leave it at that now anyway. And thanks for coming on. And if you're watching this, make sure to spread the word about Sligo Metal Fest. And you've got merch for sale. It's 2 nights,
yeah,
and you run gigs around the year. And just follow the page. You're on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. You're on everything. Yeah.
yeah.
Good
We're on
stuff.
everything.
Thanks very much, man. Cheers.
Well, thanks very much. Thanks for your time,
No
buddy.
bother. Cheers.
Talk to you soon, brother. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.